Raikantopani is for Thai drama lovers only. Alright, Sawadee-ha, hello and welcome to Axelle's Guides to Thai Dramas. I'm Axelle and the Thai drama we are talking about today is Lost in the Woods. Now, I am very excited to be finally talking about a more underrated show. So far, the episodes I've done have been on quite popular and kind of viral shows, but this show is none of that. So let's get into it immediately. What were my first impressions of it? My first impressions of the show was that for some reason, it's a miracle that I was even aware of this show, okay? I was recommended the trailer for it, like months ago, a while ago. And I recognized the main character, played by Tonhon Tanti Vejakun. I'm so sorry. Oh, Lord. I try to not butcher Thai names, but girl. And I was aware of him for a while because he was in Hormones the series back in the day, and he is also part of the band Mint, which is a Thai pop band kind of, with another ex-Nadao actor, what's his name? Wait, what? I'm sorry. Wait. Wait. This is how I learned that his little sister is Tuton Tawan? I'm shocked. But anyways, I forgot I can't find the name of the other guy. But the other guy, I also have known him for a while. He was also at Nadao Bangkok. And I really liked him in the movie Doy Boy on Netflix that was released a year or two ago. But I watched it like a year ago. If you have Netflix, I really recommend watching that movie. It is a little bit like heavy and dark. But if you like Not Me, the series, I would recommend it. I actually really liked it. It really was one of these movies that was more of a food for thought. But anyways, let's start talking about that other guy. What I do love though is that I actually really like the band Mint. I like their song with Millie, and I also like their solo songs. I've been following them since pretty much I've started listening to Thai music. So, yeah, I am quite aware of him. And so I was surprised because the guy that he's paired with, Arm Varot, is a guy again, this is what happens when you've watched like over 400 Thai dramas. You can pinpoint random actors from their side roles that they had like 6 years ago. He was in the show, what was the fucking name of that show? He was in My Dear Warrior with Baifern Pimshanok and Obniti, I was aware of him. Like, he has a very distinct face. I do love an actor with a very distinct face that you can't really confuse with anyone else, and he has it. I love the fact that he looks like he has permanent eyeliner, like iconic. And so I was like, oh my god, what a randomized pairing. This is crazy. I was also intrigued by the title, Lost in the Woods. Obviously, like, this is a title that we've seen in countless different entertainment things, be it songs, musicals, whatever. So I was quite excited. Okay. Then I forgot about it. I watched the trailer. The trailer was like, mid. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try whenever. Then I forgot about it for like 3-4 months. And then somehow I was downloading things. Okay. Downloading other Thai dramas, and I saw this on one of the websites that I use, and I was like, oh wait, like, this title seems familiar, like, so then I clicked on it. I was like, oh yeah, I watched the trailer like all those months ago. So that's my first impression of the show. This is very much one of these shows that first of all, yes, I talk about it often. I went in with no expectations. I went in just like with no reason, out of nowhere, just because I stumbled into it. And to be honest, oftentimes actually, I feel like that's when I get my best shows. So spoiler alert, I did really like this show. I mean, it's not perfect. We're gonna talk about it. So now the synopsis. This show is quite simple synopsis, and I think it works. It's the same kind of synopsis as A Tale of a Thousand Stars, as Star in Sky in Your Heart, as other shows that I forgot about somehow. I'm blanking on right now. But basically, a guy that is a little bit of a brat is sent in a remote area and he falls in love with the other guy that's supposed to look after him. This trope is common in BL, but I'm sorry, I'm still can't believe that Tonhon is Tu Tontawan's older brother. What? How did I miss this? What? Anyways, so it's a very common trope in general, even outside of like Thai media, outside of BL. It is a really good way to make an unlikely love story happen, right? You take this city person, put them in nature, in uncomfortable and unfamiliar environment. And of course, you have the perfect coming of age material because, of course, they're gonna have to grow, to adapt themselves, to mature. So it is kind of the perfect setup for these kinds of stories. And I have liked almost all the stories that I've seen with this trope. So although it was not the most revolutionary story, I was kind of excited for it. And so basically we have FIFA played by Tonhon, who is a high school student. He's like just turned 18, and his whole dream, ever has been to go to Japan. He's learned Japanese, like he listens to Japanese music. He's just obsessed with Japan. And he's trying to apply for like an artistic scholarship to go to study in Japan. But then his grandma, played by a very familiar face, what's her name? I really like her. Rutklau Amratisha. Rutklau Amratisha was in Girl 2000 with My Baby of Jumpon. She was at I believe it was the Beluga concert with Afghan and Tainu. So I've also seen her on stage. And yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff. She's kind of a big deal in Thailand. She's also a musical actress. That's what I learned through the Beluga concert. And so she plays his grandma, which first of all, I was like, she's way too young to be a grandma. How old is she? Oh, she's 56. My mom is older than that. So she is way too young to play grandma. And she doesn't look 56 also. She looks like 45. Anyways, so she is like, no, you need to come like to my national park. So the grandma owns a national park, which is named, what was it? I liked Pokla, something like that. Aiwa. Melua. Pokpa. So she owns the Pokpa National Parks. I have done some research. It does not exist in real life because I was like, this does not sound familiar. But she owns this whole national park. She's dedicated her whole life to it. And she wants FIFA to go work there for 6 months. But then FIFA is like, no, like in 3 months I have to leave for Japan, blah, blah, blah. Let me go only 3 months. So after being like pressured by everyone, he finally goes there. And this is where he meets his kind of caretaker while he's there, called Pihem, who's also has another name, spoiler alert. And Pihem is very, very grumpy, very, very not happy to be taking care of FIFA. So this is the very premise. And of course there's gonna be shenanigans. FIFA forgot to send his like scholarship application before, so he has to run into the forest to try and submit it and find internet because there's no internet connection. And then finally he gets there, but he's stuck in a tree, and then Pihem has to rescue him. There's a lot of shenanigans. He sucks at first, and slowly he gains obviously the goodwill of everyone who works in that national park, including Pihem. So this is the very, very basic synopsis, and frankly, I don't think there's, you need to know much more than that, okay? I feel like the synopsis, to be honest, the synopsis is, the story for me is the background to something much deeper, and we're gonna talk about it. Why I love this show. Now for the characters. So, FIFA, I loved. I loved him. So FIFA is supposed to be like 18, Frenchly like graduated. Tonhon is actually my fucking age. He's 26, okay? He was born the same exactly year as me. He's actually 2 months older than me. Okay, so he looks very, very young. He's one of these people like Ganatapan, right? The age gap in this show is a little bit, I mean, not the one between the real life actors, because Tonhon is 26. I think Amrawat is like 31. So they only have 5 years difference. Okay, so there's no, like, I would say 26 to 31 is barely an age gap. At some point, like, whatever. But in the show, we don't really know. It's a much bigger age gap. And I thought it would bother me more, but actually it didn't really bother me. That's what's interesting. So anyways, FIFA is very much the usual main character, like something, he has a lot of character traits that we find in a lot of main characters. Like, he's a little silly, he's a little goofy, a little unserious, a little quirky, he makes like exaggerated faces, he's a little of a brat, as we said, because like that's literally the whole plot. But also I thought that FIFA aesthetically was very, very different from other main characters, or other characters in general in Thai dramas. He's really made me think of like a queer-coded hipster guy. I've lived in Thailand for 3 years. I frequent a lot of like markets and some like a lot of things that where hipsters go, basically. And you can recognize the Thai hipsters so like easily. It's always like the oversized graphic tees and like the banging style. Honestly, their style is so good. And FIFA kind of has a little bit of that, although I also love the costume design for him. We'll talk about it. And he has this paper mache, bunny head that is like his performance outfit, because he also does music. He has this black nail polish on his hands. It's the first time that I see, apart from Jail Boys, but it's the first time that I see, and I haven't watched Jail Boys yet, by the way, spoiler. It's coming, girl. The video is coming. But he has this black nail polish, which I had never seen on another Thai character before. So he's a little bit more funky, a little bit more hipster, like different. And I liked it. I liked it all. I was like, okay, so he's not that much of a brat either. Like, he's just a kid who, like, he's being forced by everyone around him, his grandma, his parents. His parents literally gaslight him emotionally. They're like, but your grandma literally pays for everything we have. Please go to the fucking national park. Like, if you don't do that, we won't have any money. She literally owns the house we live in. So literally, he has to sacrifice, like, him working on going to fucking Japan to please everyone around him. Which, honestly, I don't blame him for coming into Pokpa, like, super grumpy. Personally, I would be grumpy too, okay? So he's a very relatable character. I feel like, frankly, they set him, like, in the trailer, they setting him up as, like, a brat. I don't think he's that much of a brat. Then we have P-Him. So the thing with this show too is that, honestly, there's other characters, but no one gives a fuck. Like, they don't really matter. It's a very short show. How many episodes does it have? It has 7 episodes. And it's very focused on the 2 main characters. So the other character is P-Him. So P-Him is this very rugged, very grumpy man. When we meet him in episode 1, he's literally very unlikable, actually. You're kind of like, at the same time, you guess that he has more going on. I mean, this is literally basic storytelling. Usually when a character starts being grumpy, we know that we're gonna uncover their, like, sad past or whatever, why they're there. And we learn very quickly when he talks with FIFA's grandma that he came here like a few years ago to escape his past. So we know his past is not so okay. And we know that he's very grumpy, he doesn't want to take care of FIFA, and that's it. We know he's someone who wants to be lonely. That's why he came to work in the national park, and that's basically it. Now, throughout the show, we unfurl a lot more of PM, and obviously he does get a lot softer to FIFA, but he is a very interesting character to me. He's quite similar to Pipupa in Thousand Stars, although Pipupa is much softer, but he's like even more like withdrawn, and I think it was interesting to have this more like introvert character, doesn't like talking much. You know, I feel like, especially in romances, I feel like sometimes they make all the characters very extroverted, just to make the plot advance and the romance like blossom. But here what I found really beautiful, we'll talk about it, I actually really love this pairing and love this love story so much, is that these two don't find comfort in the things they have like in common, because they barely have anything in common, but they find comfort in the silence. They find comfort in understanding each other despite their differences, and I think that's beautiful. Okay. And so then you have the grandma. The grandma is basically every other character is a plot device or like a very side character. They're just there to fill the plot. Okay. So we have the grandma. The grandma is there to pressure FIFA into coming to her national park. We have Prod, played by Naman Kritanai. I'm so happy to see him. Like, he's one of the people who left GMMTV and left a hole in my heart. Okay. Comeback king. Because I really like him. I mean, I don't think GMMTV treated him so well. He was always very put in like side roles. I miss him. Then we have Padme, played by Nachanan. Padme is, I love that Padme. Like, at first, when they introduced her, I was like, are they gonna make her like a love interest for either FIFA or PM? So because we see Padme say she's attracted to PM, that clearly like she likes him. And then we see her be very, very close to FIFA. Basically, they spend their whole days together. She's her biggest help apart from PM at the national park. And I was like, are they setting her up to like be a love interest? And not at all. She's just a friend. And I think it's because FIFA is clearly like very queer. Like, he's probably a gay man, you know what I mean? So I kind of like that they didn't make her part of a love triangle. There's no like jealousy here. There's nothing of the sort. This is not the story that they're wanting to tell. And I appreciate that for that. And then we have a bunch of other people, who are like very, very like side characters. It's all the people who work inside the national park that FIFA encounters, but they don't really have any like many storylines or many like lines in general. So let's not talk about them, to be honest. Next we have the cast and acting. So the cast and acting, this is what intrigued me the most. Because I was like, Tonhon, I remember him from Hormones. He hasn't done much acting since. He's much more like of like singer. And Amorod has been someone who, again, he has such a distinct face that I feel like you can't, if you see him in any type of series, you will remember him. But he hasn't, like, he's always been mostly a side character. He's never been a male lead before in a show. So I was very intrigued. I was a little bit scared about the age gap as I saw it. But I think the acting was really, really solid. And a little bit different than usual also, which I appreciated. It was definitely a lot more different than usual. I think, one thing that made me love this show, and it really resonated with me, is that it feels a lot more like an indie queer movie than a BL show. And that reflects in some of the acting decisions. I think the chemistry here is very different than what we see usually in BL. And ultimately, we're gonna get into the writing very soon. You're gonna see that the reason why I love this show so much is that it goes against pretty much all expectations that I had. And it goes against a lot of the grain of what BLs are supposed to be. So in my opinion, the acting was very good. The only people I really didn't like the acting of were the parents, especially the mother. She was like, yeah, like, oh, my baby, like, I'm sorry. Like, I felt like it was too much. Like, it was very over the top. I didn't get the acting. Honestly, I feel like we could have removed the parents' characters entirely. They didn't really serve much purpose in general for the plot. And I think the acting was really bad. And because we see the parents mostly in the first episode, it also sets a bad tone. Like, the thing with the first episode is that it's supposed to be like to set the tone for the rest of the show, but because we see these bad acting performances from them, I feel like it might have deterred some people from continuing the show, even though in my opinion the show only gets better as it progresses. So it's very that's the only thing that I didn't like acting wise. But in terms of the stars of the show, Ton Hon and Arm, I think they did great, especially Ton Hon. I'm gonna need more from him. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like Ton Hon needs to like get back into acting. I do love his music, but here I think he delivered such a fresh performance that I really, really enjoyed. Very natural, very young, even though again he's my literal age. And I really enjoyed that. Also, I've completely forgot to show you my Avjumpon drawing. My friend made me this for my birthday. I mean, by the time you're seeing this episode, probably my birthday is already past, like, for a while. But I love having incredibly talented friends. This is literally my favorite thing that I own, for sure. Okay, let's move on. Now on to the writing. So the thing with this show is that, let's get the like kind of bad parts of the writing first. The thing about this show is that it's, again, as I said, it's a lot more like queer indie movie vibes than BL show vibes, but it does have still a little bit of these like fan service moments where FIFA will fall into like PM's arms, and they don't do it like as much as other BL shows. Like other BL shows, you would get 50 different angles of that scene, like a music change to signify wow. So it's a little bit more like natural compared to other BL shows, but there is a little bit of these aspects where you're like, oh, okay, they are trying to make a BL show, you know. But the rest of the show, and what I loved about the writing the most, is that it subverts expectations so well. What I loved, and I noticed it quite quickly, is that, and it's because it's something that I criticize about BL shows, is that in the past 2-3 years, I feel like we can't let BL shows have longing anymore. Or if there is longing, it's for 1 or 2 episodes. Like, I'm watching Boys in Love. I'm actually enjoying it. I know no one is watching it, but I'm actually enjoying it. And the thing with Boys in Love is that Shane and Kit, so the main characters in it, literally kiss by episode 2. And although, okay, they have shown signs of attraction, they are very, like, it's very rushed. Like, it's kind of out of nowhere. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, like, sure. And I do think that nowadays, this generation, we're more quick to, like, kiss or have sex with people because there is less, like, of a conservative hold on us. Look at politics right now. Well, not everyone, but, I think in Thailand it is definitely the case where the past, like, 30, 40 years have become a lot less, conservative. There was a kissing ban on Thai TV until, like, 25 years ago, so there's that. But for me, and I'm not singling out Boys in Love, like, every BL show out there, almost every BL show out there, the couple gets together unbelievably fast. And even if they don't get together, now I feel like they have to kiss like very early on to hook the viewer in. And I'm like, no, give me back shows. Like one of my favorite shows, Theory of Love, Kai and Third only kiss by episode 10. And when they kiss, it's earned. We have been through the angst, we have been through the anxiety. So when they kiss, it's this big climactic scene where we're like, oh, wow, finally they're kissing. Like finally, after 10 episodes of pain and angst, we get to see them actually have a cute moment and kiss. But nowadays, I feel like we don't have this payoff ever in Thai BLs. Ever. I feel like nowadays, if a ship doesn't, like, if a couple in a BL doesn't kiss before, like, episode 6, unheard of, like, crazy. So what I appreciated with the Lost in the Woods is that I think I realized it by episode 2, I was like, oh, there's very few, like, fan service moments. Like, this is telling a story more than trying to make a ship a ship. And I think that is a difference where this show clearly is not trying to set up Tonhon and Arm to be a crucian or a pairing, to have events and to have like ads together or whatever. Like they just came on and signed for this one project. And I think this is where sometimes the problem starts with like fixed pairings, is that they have to like advertise them. So to advertise them, nowadays there's so many BL shows that like a company like GMMTV, for example, is gonna be like, okay, they gotta kiss by episode 2 or 3 so people can see their chemistry, because by the end of the show, when the 12 episodes have aired, we want to be able to sell like fan meets, to sell merch, to sell all of that. And there is so much competition because just at GMMTV there's like 30, 40 pairings that people actually love and care about. So it's so like overwhelming. The competition is so overwhelming that they're trying to like set up, okay, let's like hook them in as early as possible. But then it affects the story. I think we are forgetting, and this is one of my biggest issue with like BL or GL, is that the purpose of a romance is to actually tell a story. It's not just to show us a cute couple making out and having sex. And this is something where sometimes I feel a lot of BL shows have lost the plot. And this is something that I did appreciate, for example, with Tame Po, where they did not kiss before episode 8. And I was like, okay, cool. Set up that fucking ship. And this is why, in my opinion, that show as a whole is a lot more successful. And I appreciated it a lot more than a lot of other BL shows. Now, I'm not saying I'm not enjoying Boys in Love. I actually am. But I was just so shocked because it came out of nowhere. And it is, Boys in Love is not the only show that does that. It's actually symptomatic across like almost every single show. So when I saw that Lost in the Woods by episode 4, there had been barely any romantic vibes. There had been barely, like, the romance only kind of starts at episode 4. I was like, okay, now you're actually telling a story. You're not trying to sell me a ship. You're not trying to sell me a cute man making out. You're actually telling a story. And this is something that I respect deeply. When you can see, and this is something that I really enjoyed about this show, is that you can tell they had a vision and they made it happen as they wanted to. And they didn't try to put in like random tropes here and there to make it work. Okay. And so for the writing, I think one of the most beautiful parts of the writing that I can't even like describe, even me as a writer, I love analyzing writing, but I think they made it work. I think it was in episode 6 that I realized, oh wow, like they made these two people feel like soulmates. And I think it's a very big feat. Okay. We see a lot of pairings all over Thai dramas, okay? Thai dramas always have pairings, always have romance going on. Even shows that have nothing really to do with romance will still have a side romance. It's very interesting because although most, like 99% of pairings in Thai dramas, be it like BL, GL, straight, like not even like romance shows, 99% of the couples there are cute. They have chemistry. They are good looking together, etc., etc. But it's rare that you have a couple where you feel like, oh, they belong together. Oh, they are like soulmates in a way. And personally, that's an aspect that I really enjoy about shows. That's what I loved a lot about I Told Sunset About You and Not Me. My quota of talking about these shows has been reached for this episode. And it's something that I also enjoyed in another show that is a little bit similar to Lost in the Woods. It was the Second Chance show, back in like 2020 or 2021, I believe. Also a mini series about two best friends falling in love. Also not the best, like most masterpiece, like written, piece of fiction ever, but where it also worked is that the chemistry and the writing of the unfurling of the relationship worked very, very well with me. And I think Lost in the Woods has that quality as well from Second Chance, where it really blew me away and enticed me in a way that, frankly, recent BL shows haven't done at all. And I think it's the more like subdued, subtle, queer longing aspect that I personally adore. This is why I love watching like queer movies. I actually don't watch that many movies. I'm more of a like TV show person. Although I do like movies too, but if I have to choose, I'll choose a TV show always, almost. But I love watching queer movies because they always, like 95% of queer movies has this like silent longing that BL does not capture, or like even Western shows with queer characters don't really capture as well, in my opinion. And so I really enjoyed the writing. I think the writing for this pairing was very successful. The details around it, though, not so successful. Like, again, the fact that the grandma is forcing FIFA is it feels forced. It feels a little bit random. We never really understand why the grandma would do that, because logically, why would she jeopardize her grandson's, like, studies to prove a point? I feel like any old person, especially in Thailand, where, as I said, I believe in my episode, studies are so important, are literally more important than anything else. Like, studies are more important than your happiness, than your development, than your friendships, than everything. Like, in Thailand, studies for many families are really like everything. And so honestly, I can't believe a Thai grandma would be like, yes, like, fuck that fucking scholarship, to bring you to Japan, come work at my fucking national park. I feel like it's a little bit, unrealistic. The parents also, their reaction, everything, very unrealistic. But the couple, the core of the show, works. It works so well. There's many moments, let me tell you about my favorite part of the writing, is that this couple, we never hear them say, hi, I love you. They only have one kiss scene, and it's not like a make-out sesh. It's not like, there's a lot of untold things. And I think this show is incredibly good at making us, again, root for this couple, see the way they actually adore each other and fall so hard for each other, but without words. And it's very subtle, and it's something that I frankly have never seen in another Thai drama done like this. Even like shows like, again, I Don't Said About You, where there's a lot of queer longing, a lot of like, symbolism and things like that, is a little bit more obvious. But here it's a little bit more like subdued, but it still works. For me, I was hooked in. I could tell the love between these characters, and I could tell that this was a love story that both characters, I also could tell early on, spoiler alert, that this is a sad story, like they don't end up together, which makes perfect sense. Again, like FIFA is going to go study in Japan or study in general, and PM is running from his past and wants to be alone in this national park. So their goals don't align at all. So it's very clear from the get-go it's not going to be a happy love story. And frankly, oftentimes I don't like sad gay stories. Like, I don't like seeing sad gays. I want the gays to be happy. Like, listen, there's so much persecution about LGBTQ plus people all around the world. Nowadays, it feels like in the West, we're going back, from all the progress we've achieved in the past 40 years. And it's very scary. Like, it's a very scary time. Okay. And I usually want to see gay celebration, gay love, gay happiness much more than sadness. But here it worked because they're not together, not because they're gay. It has nothing to do. It's just that there's an age gap, there's a goal gap, there is so much differences. But personally, it's my headcanon. And honestly, as soon as I finished the show, I was like, oh, like, FIFA is probably gonna try to make it in Japan, not actually like it as much, because it is set up by the writers. At some point, FIFA in the show is like, by the end, where he's obviously very torn because he has to leave, but he's in love with PM. And he says to PM, what if I don't like Japan as much as I think I will? And for me, it kind of sets up the idea that maybe FIFA goes to study there, enjoys it, tries to set up his life there, but cannot succeed, cannot become an artist like he wants to. And then he comes back to Thailand, and takes over the national park, because also there is this idea that once the grandma dies, the national park will have to go to an owner that is not related to her. And I'm thinking FIFA actually fell in love with the national park, Pokpa. So I think it's my headcanon is that they do end up together. So for me, it's not like a shut and done, like sad ending. There is this idea that in my headcanon is like FIFA comes back afterwards, 5 years later or something, and they live in their fucking gay wooden houses in that fucking national park and take care of the elephants all day. Like, that's my fan fiction that I'm writing about this, okay? So in general, I think the writing was so solid. It was really beautiful. It enjoyed the silence. It enjoyed the awkwardness, the fact that these two characters are not like, they are compatible, but they're not similar at all. And that's what works. Like, they play on that. And the writing is very, very solid on that front. Not on everything, but definitely on that part, for sure. And I also really enjoyed the fact that they let PM be a grumpy old guy in episode 1, and slowly we see him get more and more attached to FIFA, but at the same time, they don't betray his character. It's not like at the end of the show, he became suddenly someone who is very like extroverted, or at least declares his love publicly. No, he stays a very introverted, very like kind of quiet presence in the forest from the beginning to the end, because that's who he is as a character. And I like that. Although also I want to, before we move on, I do want to criticize other parts of the writing a little bit. And it is that I feel like the background and the past of him isn't explored as much. So we see one small scene where we see that his parents did berate him and were like really bad to him. So we can see that he doesn't really have any familial link and familial ties. And that's why he's okay with like going in an area where there's no cell phone reception, and he's very alone because because I think he doesn't really have anyone else outside of Pokpa, like the natural park. And then we also see that his girlfriend, long-term girlfriend, ended up cheating on him with his best friend. So he got betrayed by the two people who mattered the most to him. So we can see that PM basically like never wants to trust anyone again. And he does say it. He says, that's why I came to work here. And we also see that PM clearly has a drinking problem, because he's basically, the way that he ended up in this working there is that, he was drunk off his fucking ass. He fell on a motorbike. He had an accident, and he was fined by, FIFA's grandma, who offered him a job. And that's how he kind of turned his life around. And we still see him drink a lot. In that sense, he kind of reminded me of Sean from Not Me. I feel like these characters need to go to the doctor, but what I liked is that he's like constant drinking is commented on. And so we can see that in a way, him still has some healing to do. In a way, I feel like, FIFA is more mature and knows more about himself and accepts himself a lot more than, him does, even though they probably like have like an 8-year, 10-year, gap. And I find that interesting. Frankly, this is also why I wouldn't mind a sequel at all, like 5 years later, where we can see him like healing himself and learning to trust people, not just FIFA, who he has like a romantic tie to, but like everyone. And I would really like to see them like grow and evolve together. Again, you can tell that I've given this show a lot of thought. And that is the strength of the show and the writing, in my opinion, is that it makes you think. Or at least it did. I am very aware that this show, we'll talk about it in the last section about who would like this show. I don't think this show is for everyone at all, but it is definitely for me. I love these more quiet, more like queer longing, shows. And for me, it really spoke to me. I think the writing is very solid. Even though it's not completely realized. I think they set up something very beautiful and very powerful there. And especially the link between these two men. Again, at first, when the show started, because Ton Hon looks so much younger than he actually is, I was like, ooh, like, wow, what is this? Like, the age gap is a little bit weird. He's playing like a recent high school graduate. I don't love that. But I think the way that the romance is set up actually works, because there's nothing really inappropriate going on. Of course, if this was real life, I wouldn't say that, by the way. But this is fiction, and I'm also deeply aware that Ton Hon is actually my age, so that's maybe why I'm actually like, that's fine. It's exactly why I don't find it creepy in The Trainee when we have Gunn playing Ryan, who's a 22-year-old, and Off playing Jane, who's probably like 30, over 30 or something. Where the age gap could be a little bit problematic, but because I know they're literally only 2 years apart, why would I care? Like, you know what I mean? Because I know Afghan are literally 2 years apart, and also I've seen them make out before. Like, there's nothing weird about it. So there is also that knowledge where I also, in a way, understand from a writing standpoint why FIFA kind of had to be a recent graduate going on a scholarship. That's kind of the whole basis. Like, I think the age gap is important kind of to the show, because you have FIFA kind of having this coming of age moment, liking someone for the first time ever, which he does say to his friends. It was very cute when he says to his friend, I think I like someone, like I finally like someone. I was like, that's really cute, the way he announces it without any complex. And I think to go back to FIFA, that's why for me he's such a good character, because he's a very honest character, not just like to others, but to himself. He's a very honest and true character to himself, and I think these are the kinds of characters that are the most likable. Maybe because I find a little bit of him in myself. I am someone who also is someone like very, very honest with myself, very introspective, and I saw that of me in FIFA a little bit, so that there's that reason as well. So in general, I think the show was really well written, but again, it's not perfect. This is what's interesting with these kinds of shows, is that, you know, I tend to be a little bit hyperbolic. That's who I am. I'm a very like a little bit extra person, but most shows are not like the writing will never ever be 100% perfect. That's the case for Not Me, and you guys know how I feel about Not Me. I think there could have been done some little things like different in Not Me to make it better, even though for me that's a near perfect show. But I don't think a show needs to have like perfect writing or perfect this, perfect acting, blah blah blah, to be really a punch in the gut. You know what I mean? This show, for me, I am very well aware that the reason I like it is because it touched something in me. And the fact of the matter is that there's hundreds of better made shows, better written shows, better acted shows, okay, with a stronger concept, that are probably more famous too, that didn't touch me in the same way. And I think that's where it succeeds. But that's where it is also deeply personal, right? Because maybe someone who's also like maybe very similar to me, same personality, also bisexual woman, my age, whatever, like same, like basically my twin could watch this and maybe not feel the same way, okay? Because we're all different people. Different things touch different people for sure. So that's why I feel like I'm struggling a little bit to explain why this show touched me so much. But I think the main aspect is that I think it subverted so many different things, and it built such a strong love story, and that is in big part due to the writing on that part. I think the writing here is incredible, and I think they gave their all in that area and didn't really develop the rest. And I think that's why the writing is a little bit like wishy-washy. Now let's move on, because I've been talking about the writing for like 30 minutes. But the cinematography. Now the cinematography, oh my god. Literally every time they would pan through the landscape of Pokpa Natural Park, I would be like, oh, like I would gasp, audibly gasp, okay? Now, girl, the landscapes here, gorgeous, okay? Gorgeous. Of course, the strength that a show that is filmed in nature will have is that it can have these like B-roll of beautiful landscapes. And every single landscape was more beautiful than the last one. Girl, I was at my jaw on the floor. And this is the case usually, you know, when I talk about cinematography, I don't just talk about the location. I just don't talk about like how beautiful the shot is. I talk about the camera work. I think honestly, the camera work was also quite good here. It's nothing innovative, it's nothing crazy, but I think it was really good. It fit the setting. I think what I love the most is that you can really tell the locations that these characters are in. It kind of remind me of the show, what was it, 120 Degrees with Pon Ponlawit, where it was also like half in nature and also in this big like architect villa that was very cold looking in the middle of the mountain or something, or the forest, and I think both shows like took advantage of like the wide shots so well. And the landscapes, girl, you can't beat nature, like literally the nature in these 8. So I think the cinematography definitely is better than most Thai dramas. Like I was feasting my gaze upon these landscape shots, for real. I loved it. Then the pace. Now, in my opinion, the pace is very good. I didn't get bored once. And this is also when around episode 2, episode 3, I was like, oh, I actually really like this show. Because episode 1, I think, is a little bit weaker than the other episodes. But episode 2, episode 3 really enticed me. I really liked it. This is also when you start like seeing PM open up a little bit more, be a little bit less of an asshole. So of course, you're gonna be like, oh, how soft is he gonna become? And I actually really enjoyed the pace. I think there's no boring moment. The show actually goes very fast. I mean, it's only 7 episodes, and I think that's where having a mini series is very successful, is that like you have to go scene. You have to tell your story in such a succinct way that longer series don't really have. And that's why a lot of longer Thai dramas, I feel like they have to fill the screen time with random shit where the pace is not as successful. And that's generally why I love miniseries, because I'm like, oh, they are kind of forced to pull their shit together, and I love that for it. So for me, the pace was quite good, honestly. Maybe it's a little bit slow to some people, but personally, I love a little bit like more slower shows. I know this is a show where there's not that much going on, right? There's not like there's not A plot, B plot, C plot, D plot. There's one plot. It's the A plot, and that's kind of the whole show. But for me, it works. Personally, I think the pace was good. Now, the ship's chemistry. I love this pairing. I think it's interesting because this pairing doesn't have that much chemistry. In the classical way that chemistry is usually displayed in Thai BLs, this couple is chemistryless. But they're not. Because they display their chemistry in such a different way, and again, a more like indie gay movie way, especially on PM's side, you can barely see how much he loves FIFA. But it's only in the last 1 or 2 episodes that you start to tell, like, oh, like he loves him, but he will never go for him. And I think that's also what's very interesting in it, is that PM is presented as a straight man. He used to have a girlfriend, which her cheating on him or like breaking up with him to be with his best friend messed him up so much. He became a drunk and ended up working at the Pokpa Natural Park. So clearly he is like straight presenting. And I think that is a part of why he can't recognize his affection for FIFA as first as being more than, oh, he's just my little mentee that I'm mentoring in this forest. And I think the way he shows his chemistry with Tonhon is a lot more subtle, but it makes sense in the context of the show. But if you only watch like edits of this pairing, you're gonna be like, oh, like where's the chemistry? You know what I mean? But for me, the last scene of the show, which is the one that stole my breath away, like stole my heart, I almost sobbed, to be honest. I loved it so much. That scene is so good. So basically, FIFA is gonna leave the forest, okay? And they have a like bonfire. And in this bonfire, they almost kiss, okay? It's a very long scene. It lasts like almost 4 or 5 minutes. And so for 1 minute of them, you have their two faces going closer. At this point, this is the climax of the show, okay? We've seen both of them have attraction to each other. They're gonna kiss. But FIFA, like, is the one to pull away, and he leans on PM's shoulder, and they start to, like, caress each other's hands. And this scene says so much without even having a kiss scene. But in this moment, okay, they're in love. Like, they've said, I love you, but there's no words for it. And I love when a show doesn't have the characters say, I love you. It was the case for I Told Sunset About You. It was the case for Not Me, Not Me. So good. I mean, this is the goal that keeps me alive, and you are too. Bitch, White keeping Sean alive? That's the best love confession of all time, bitch. I am biased, but girl, watch that scene and tell me it's not the best confession ever. Anyways, so I love when, like, you can tell, again, there's kind of a soulmate-like quality to a pairing, but they don't say I love you. And that scene for me was so well done. Chemistry, 10 out of 10. Like, you can tell the longing, you can tell everything they want to say, but they don't want to say at the same time, or they don't have to say it at the same time. So powerful. Great cinema. I absolutely adore that scene. It's gonna stay burned in my fucking retinas for the rest of my life. I am not exaggerating. So on that scene alone, this is for me when the whole show made sense. I was like, oh, like, I get it now. And so in the end, the only kiss that they share is FIFA leaving. He comes and he finally kisses PM. And usually I don't like when there's a kiss when someone's sleeping. But here it is. First of all, it's revealed that PM was awake at that time and he, like, was conscious for the kiss. But here it works so well because this is FIFA saying goodbye. And in the end, in the last, very last, voiceover, we have FIFA say, oh, I'm very bad at goodbyes, I can't say goodbye, blah, blah. And that was his way to say goodbye. It's so powerful. I love that shit. This was so good. Okay, this was so good. And frankly, these two scenes are literally why I can overlook all the little other flaws that the show have, because this was so good. This was so good and so different. This is something that I haven't seen before from a Thai BL, and I really love okay, I think it's been very clear, like, through all of the reviews I've done so far, I'm always like, give me something more, like, give me some spice, give me, like, I love when a show subverts expectation. Any show that comes to me and surprises me, nowadays, after I've watched over 400 Thai dramas, I've watched, like, 250 BL shows in my fucking lifetime. Subvert my expectation. This is how you win my heart every single time. Even a show that I would not enjoy as much as this one, if it subverts my expectations, I will always give it kudos. Always. Okay, let's move on. Next to the music. So the music of this show, actually, I believe that the soundtrack of this show has been made by Ton Hon because he's a musician with the band. Means I don't know if he did it alone or with his bandmate. I'm not sure. I didn't do any research on that, to be honest. But I actually quite like the song that they play throughout most of the show. It's very vibey, very, like, Mint inspired. Like, if you know the band Mint, that's why I believe it is a Mint composition. But in general, I really like it. I think it does fit the more, like, nature vibe of the show. For the rest of the music, I didn't notice. I feel like there's not that much music apart from that soundtrack that plays a lot. And in a way it works because they are in nature. They are in the forest. I want to hear the sounds of nature as well. And I think they featured it quite prominently in this show. And I enjoyed it. So hear the music. Nothing phenomenal, but frankly, I liked it and noticed it a little bit more than other shows. So, kudos to that. Now, the costume design. Honestly, I love the costume design so much. So, obviously, everyone other than FIFA in the show and his parents work at the Pokpa National Park. And so, they are all in work clothes, like, there's nothing, like, crazy about it, okay? There's nothing to be noticed about it. But then we have FIFA, who is this very colorful, he wears, like, his outfits are so good. Loki, he's a style icon. I really loved it. Like, even if it's not personally like my style, I feel like he is someone who knows himself so well, and he has such a distinct way he wants to present himself, which I fucking adore. I love the nail polish. I love the colorful outfits. I really love that his wardrobe is used to show how different he is from everyone else at the natural park. And I think it works. I will always love it when the wardrobe and the costume design indicates and furthers the plot, indicates the message we're supposed to be getting. And here I think this is done very, very well. But I also love his outfits, and that little rabbit head, very, very vibey. I actually really liked it. Now for rewatchability. So for me, I think there's a very high rewatchability. First of all, it's a mini-series, so already I love rewatching mini-series, but also, again, I loved this show. I loved this show. I loved it. It really did something to my heart, where in the end, I was like, wow, I haven't seen like a queer love story that touched me that much in a while. It had been a while since I had watched a queer story that I was like, ooh, this is giving me like something. This is making my chest tingle a little bit. And I personally definitely will be rewatching it. And I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hell out of this. So I would definitely rewatch it. Now for the writing. So unfortunately, I knew it would happen. It's rated a 7.6 on my drama list, which is not too good. But I'm not surprised. I think, again, if the queer longing and the way that their love is displayed didn't touch you the way it did for me, I think you will focus a lot more on the flaws of the show, which it has a lot, okay? And you won't be able to, like, in the sense, you will rate the show a little bit more objectively, whereas I'm rating it very subjectively. And I think when a show touches your heart, like this show did to me, I can't be really subjective. I acknowledge the flaws that it has. I've talked about them, but they don't really factor in my emotional attachment to this show. You know what I mean? So there is that aspect where these kinds of shows that really do something different, that touches my heart that deeply, I can't be I can't be very objective about. So I gave it personally an 8.5, because it's a show that I thoroughly enjoyed, that I will be thinking about for a while. When I finished the show, I thought about it like for a week after, every day, and I would replay the last few scenes in my mind, and I really enjoyed it. I think they did what they set up very successfully, although the other details, and maybe they focus too much on the love story and the other details are not so good. But personally, I give it an 8.5. It's definitely a show that I enjoyed thoroughly, that touched my heart, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. Frankly, I don't want to gas it up too much, but the succession of watching Tempo, Us, and then Lost in the Woods, all three shows which I've loved, rated 8.5, has kind of made me fall back in love with Thai dramas. Like, really. And I'm very, very happy, because I feel like since Not Me ended in 2022, I kind of drifted away a little bit from Thai dramas, because nothing could ever top Not Me. And to this day, nothing can ever top Not Me. But these past three shows that I've really enjoyed have helped me realize that even though Not Me is like a fucking ovni, a one-of-a-kind show that will never ever be replicated, and nothing will ever come close, in a way, Thai dramas still have other things to offer. And yeah, I'm starting to fall back in love with them again. And frankly, that was one of the goals for this podcast. And I can't believe we're not even past 10 episodes. And it's already working. You know what I mean? So I'm very, very glad to have stumbled onto this show, like kind of accidentally, and watched it over the course of one night, because I really enjoyed it. Lastly, how I would fix it. So I think I've already said much of how I would fix it. I think I would make the whole premise of the show, why the grandma sends FIFA to her national park, a lot less sudden and a lot more like making sense. And also I would make the side characters at the national park maybe a little bit more prominent. I think, for example, Naman Kritanai didn't need to be there. Like, I think he's a little bit above having such a side role for that. He barely had nothing going on. And I think it would have been nice if we saw, for example, also PMB developed outside of his like romance with FIFA and have him actually bond with Namon's character and make a friend, and also show a lot more of his past and why he became how he is, because definitely like only 2 or 3 flashbacks that are very short didn't cut it to me. I think that his past needed to be developed a lot more because it is so central to his characters and to why he is the way he is. So definitely that would be the main things that I fix. And also the parents, I would change the actors. I'm sorry, girl, but this acting was so bad. Especially from the mom. I was really, really shocked. But apart from that, I would definitely keep the way the romance and the 2 characters get together. I would keep it the exact same way, because for me it was really, really good. And lastly, who would like this show? So if you like indie gay movies, you will love that shit. You will love that shit, okay? Because I do, okay? And if you like more slower shows, more contemplative shows, you will love that. If you want a lot of makeout scenes, a lot of sex scenes, sexual tension, fan service, you will not like this show. This is not for you, girly, okay? But yeah, anything like, if you like queer exploration, queer coming of age, I think you will really enjoy this show. Personally, I did. Especially if you can overlook its like many flaws that are not, it doesn't have like huge flaws, but it has a lot of tiny flaws that kind of make a bigger flaw in the end. You know what I mean? So if you can overlook that, I think you'll really enjoy this, because personally, it really stole my heart in a very unexpected way. Again, I had completely forgotten about that show. Frankly, there were good chances that if I weren't bored that night and didn't stumble onto it and didn't start it out of nowhere, I probably would have never watched this show. And this is also something that maybe when I say it's rekindling my love for Thai dramas, there is that aspect where I think I need to give more chances to Thai dramas. I became, after Not Me, because it was so good, I became so attached to only watching Thai dramas. Either I was like 100% sold on the plot, or I already liked the cast, and mostly it's been about the cast. Like, if I like the cast, I'll watch a show. But there's many shows with cast that I don't know, that I maybe will never really be a fan of, but are probably really great. So now this show has encouraged me to open my mind a little bit more and, be a little bit more open-minded and give shows that are underrated and no one are really talking about more chances, because this was very good. I really loved it. I hope you guys will give this show a chance, because I really enjoyed it. Frankly, I might rewatch it tonight because, girl, I loved it so much. Anyways, I talked way too much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.